Good morning. Calling to order the meeting of the Vehicles for Hire Appeal Board for April 29th, 2025. My name is Dean Scaletta, and I'm the chair of the panel this morning. And the panel includes Mr. Gary Shuchuk and Ms. Amanda Kozak. And I'll ask the clerk and the members of the public service to introduce themselves.
I'm Peter Prinsloo. I'm the senior committee clerk with the City Clerk's Department, and I'm the clerk for this particular board meeting today.
Grant Heather, manager of Vehicles for Hire for the City of Winnipeg.
Thank you. And Mr. Clerk, you will advise the of the process.
I just want to note also that Amanda Mueller, coordinator of operational support and initiatives, is also here to support the administration.
Okay, thank you.
So first order of business, we have a couple of procedural motions. So if we can have a motion from Gary to allow both you, Mr. Chair, and Amanda to participate remotely.
I move.
All right, and if you could call the question, Mr. Chair.
Call the question. All in favor? Pass.
And then the second motion is to adopt the minutes from our last meeting held May 17th, 2024.
I'll move.
We'll go with Amanda since you are in the chair, Mr. Chairperson.
Oh, okay.
I'll move.
Mr. Shuchuk? Favor. Okay. All in favor? Passed.
Perfect. All right, so now to provide an overview. The process the appeal board will follow is the Winnipeg Public Service will provide an explanation of their decision and may address questions asked by the appeal board. Next, the appellant makes representation regarding the appeal and answers any questions raised by the appeal board. The Winnipeg Public Service may address comments made and questions asked by the appellant and the appeal board. Finally, the appellant may return to speak in rebuttal to comments made. However, no new information is permitted. Please note that when your name is called, it is your opportunity to speak. However, you are not obligated to do so. As information, all appeal hearings are recorded, and any submissions made to the appeal board will become part of the public record. Item 1 is an appeal under the Vehicles for Hire bylaw number 129 of 2017 regarding license number VFHD-01595. So at this time, we'll hand it over to the public service to give us an overview on this matter.
Thank you. Good morning, Mr. Chair, appeal board members. As designated employee under the Vehicle for Hire bylaw, it's my role to make decisions based on the information presented to our office and to enforce the bylaw. The appellant presented their application for a City of Winnipeg taxi driver's license in February of 2025. As part of their application was a criminal record check dated January 2025, and that has been included in the exhibits filed. Upon review of the criminal record check, it was determined that a conviction had occurred that was in contravention of Section 49.1 of the Vehicles for Hire bylaw 129/2017. Therefore, based on this contravention and the guidance provided by the bylaws to the definition of a relevant criminal offense, I'm under the obligation to deny the application for a taxi cab driver's license. To bring to your attention, the charge or the conviction in question is that of assault dated 2024. You will see in your evidence package, we've also included a letter that was provided to our office at the time of application from the appellant's probation officer. As well, this has a little bit more information to it, or a little bit more of a background than simply just having a charge. Mr. Mathew had been a licensed taxi driver in 2018, 2020, 2022, and 2023 with our office. At the time in 2023, he had come into our office in the summer to in order to become licensed and presented a criminal record check at that time. I'm not sure if we had provided the application at that time to you. However, we did, and I believe it showed outstanding charges at that time. Outstanding charges are dealt with separately or differently under the bylaw than an actual conviction, given the fact that due process hasn't been obtained, and then we apply a form of due process in the application process. The bylaw requires that the designated employee, when presented with a application containing outstanding charges that had not been adjudicated by the justice system at that time, would do a hearing to obtain a risk assessment or to make a risk assessment based on that. You'll find the hearing decision letter included in your package, along with the details of what we were told at that hearing. I will leave that for you to read instead of bringing it out into the public forum at this time. However, you can also determine that, or my determination at that time of the risk was such that the situation was denoted as domestic in nature. It was a one-time issue, according to what we were told. And understanding some of the uniqueness and the unique dynamics that exist in a domestic situation as opposed to a more public situation, I determined that the risk would be relatively low considering no additional charges had been levied at that time or in the past. You can, on page, I think it's 5 of the hearing letter, you can read the decision there, the conditions of the hearing, as well as the fact that I noted under number 2 that required immediate reporting of a change in criminal history, and that a note as a conviction of a relevant criminal offense would automatically disqualify the driver from applying for a taxi license at that time. So that is, from our standpoint, we're here. That decision letter preceded the application by about a year and a half. The court case was, I guess, disposed of and adjudicated through the justice system, through its channels. And we were then presented in January with the criminal record check or at dated January, and then a application in February that now showed an assault charge, which had been, I guess, worked through the court system or pled down, I can only assume. So that is the evidence that I have as to why we're here.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Shuchuk. Any questions of Mr. Heather?
So the reason we're here is basically because the conviction has occurred since your adjudication?
Correct. So, yes. So when he came in with the original charge, we were still in a position that the justice system the court system hadn't worked through its determination of the facts of the case. We do our best not to interfere with that process by going too deep into it, but having enough information to make a risk assessment of whether giving the driver his driver's license at that time poses a risk to the general public or not. The decision based on that indicated that he was allowed to have a license. He maintained that license until until it expired, which then he didn't renew his license because of the outstanding charge at that time, and then came in now with an outstanding conviction.
Right, I noticed some conditions that you placed on that license at the time.
Yes.
Any breach of those conditions?
None that I'm aware of.
I have no further
Ms. Kozak, any questions for Mr. Heather?
Not at this time, thank you.
Okay. So can we now hear from Mr. Matharu?
That's right, yes. Mr. Matharu, if you would like to come make representation, grab a seat at the end of the table there, and we can proceed. Just at the end of the table there. And your name, sir? Hello, good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Sir, last these couple of years, I just faced so many problems, just court case or something, and these things. And my house is already occupied by bank, and it's up for bankruptcy. And I'm also working in Canada Post as a postal clerk on there, as I'm working on there part time. And I'm just me and my wife will be living in separate. We are applied for divorce. She's not living with me, and I'm just paying for my kids, my child support. I have two kids. Son is 5 years old and daughter is 4 years old, and I have to pay monthly. I have a paying for my living in the rent, living in the house in the rent, paying rent, and my car insurance, and all these, and for my child support. And I also for bankruptcy applied, and then I just go to for bankruptcy and apply communal proposal and apply there. And I have also, I'm paying for that amount. I just give them. And I just want to do, if you apply for renew my license, because I have too difficulty to, I'm still part-time on their Canada Post. If I get a license, then I can doing private taxi. And I have no any complaint in Unicity, and because of 2018 still on that time, then I drive a cab. I have no any complaint with any customers, any. And I just want to, if you, I can show all the documents, Unicity. You can see for Unicity, the taxi, they can write down about this letters for me, and because I was driving that time, he submitted those. And I'm this is a MLA of Daljit Barat, and when I was just with helping as a working with as a volunteer, and he's no, and I have these sporting letter, and this is a Sikh Society of Manitoba, and they write down letter for sporting letter, like whenever I just go there, and then they help are doing a volunteer job on there, and needy people or some poor people, if somebody need, and we just doing the serving the food on there. And, this is my probation officer, and he write down a letter for me, like I'm continuously going there and take the classes, and whatever she's saying to me, like I always going on the time and never miss any classes on there. That's it, sir. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir. Mr. Heather, any response?
At this time, we'll get questions from the board, and then thereafter we can ask questions of the public service.
Yeah, sorry, I'm sorry about that. Ms. Kozak, any questions of the appellant?
How do you feel that this incident affects your ability as a taxi driver in the community?
So sorry, say again.
How do you feel that this incident will affect your suitability as a taxi driver for the people in the community?
Well, yeah, I feel it's very bad, and because it's also effect on when I'm driving in taxi, and like a lot of my colleagues, and they if they would know about these things happening, and but I try to improve myself, and just doing meditation and all these things, and but in the last starting take a license for 2018, that to still now I have no any complaint any unicity. Like sometimes some people are drunk, or some people are when I'm driving taxi, but I know how to handle them, and I try to be very calm and handle all the situations on there.
Thank you. I have no further questions.
No. Mr. Shuchuk, any questions of the appellant?
No questions.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Heather, any response?
Gentlemen, if we can just get you to just grab a seat in the gallery, we'll call you back up in a bit. Thank you.
Just in reading the evidence that Mr. Mathrew provided to the board, it is consistent with what he told us at the hearing back in 2023. Based on the facts of what's included in, and you'll see that match up in the letter also between what he wrote in his evidence to what you'll find in the on page 2, the findings in the incident. As I said before, we have prior to he had been licensed since 2018 with the city when the city took over regulation, and to my recollection had no issues up to the point of this situation occurring. So that's all I can add.
All right, thank you. Ms. Kozak, any questions of Mr. Heather?
No, thank you.
Mr. Shuchuk?
None at this time, thanks.
All right, so do we now go in camera to deliberate?
We can call the appellant back to speak in rebuttal to the comments that the public service just made, and then thereafter we can move some motions.
All right, why don't we do that then?
Gentlemen, do you want to come back if you have anything to add to what Mr. Heather just said?
So I just want to say, if you I take a license back, and then I drive a cab as a responsible person, and I not create any problem with my public, because I'm working in Canada Post as a postal clerk on there. I'm continuously going on there, and I know how to, because I just came here in 2015, and I know how to work with in Canada in here, and I know all the moral responsibility, and like a long time driving cab, and I have experience in here. If you I'm just doing two humble request, if you guys give me a license, and I can make my future is better, and because I lot of expensive for my child support and for my car insurance, and my house my rent and all the expensive, and if you guys give me, so I just say thank you.
All right, thank you. So we will now go in camera to.
First, we'll need a motion that the receipt of public representations be concluded.
I make that motion.
Amanda, do you want a second?
Second.
All in favor?
And now we'll need a motion that reads that the Vehicles for Hire Appeal Board enter private deliberations.
I'll move.
Gary,
Second.
all in favor?
All right, perfect. So at this time, the board will confer. So if the members of the public in the gallery and the public service could please exit the room, and then I will invite everybody back once we're ready to resume. Thank you.
These are the reasons of the panel. In early 2025, Mr. Matharu was denied a taxi driver license because a criminal record check had disclosed that a conviction for assault had been entered against him in 2024. The denial was mandated by the applicable Vehicle for Hire bylaw. The assault had no connection with his employment as a taxi driver. Since that time, Mr. Matharu has served, without incident or any further involvement with the criminal justice system, the conditional sentence that was imposed by the judge. The materials show that he has complied with all aspects of the conditional order, which is now expired, and continues to comply with the conditions of his probation. The administration previously conducted a risk assessment upon becoming aware of the original charge, and it was determined that there was little risk to the public if he were permitted to operate a taxi while his case worked its way through the courts. The panel agrees with that assessment. The appeal is therefore allowed with conditions which the clerk will now read into the record.
All right, so the motion will read that the appeal be allowed in part and the decision dated February 21st, 2025, issued by the manager of Vehicles for Hire, Winnipeg Parking Authority regarding provisions of the Vehicles for Hire bylaw number 129 of 2017 for license number VFHD-01595 be cancelled, subject to the following conditions. Condition 1, requirement to immediately report a change in the status of criminal charges or changes related to criminal proceedings. And 2, subject to random taxi camera downloads by Vehicle for Hire enforcement in order to ensure that your conduct is appropriate in your interaction with taxi customers while providing transportation services.
Mr. Matharu, any questions?
So Mr. Heather would like to just raise one point.
Yes.
I just have a question on the second condition, whether there is a time limit or this is a ongoing in perpetuity clause.
Well, I can answer that two ways. The intent was that the condition be in place until his probation has expired, and I'm assuming based on his past record that will occur just as a matter of course because he has been compliant so far, and the panel has no reason to believe that is going to change. But our understanding is that that's a condition that applies to all taxi drivers and not just Mr. Matharu in particular.
We don't, as a course of operations, we don't do random taxi downloads unless the driver has been placed under that due to a condition of hearings or a decision of this board. We've been advised by legal counsel that phishing is not allowed.
All right, so then the condition will expire when his probation expires.
Okay, so just to
Thank you.
clarify for the board, then the wording on the second condition will read, subject to random taxi camera downloads by Vehicle for Hire enforcement in order to ensure that your conduct is appropriate in your interaction with taxi customers while providing transportation services until probation has expired.
Yes.
Thank you.
And I'll just need a mover for that
I'll
motion.
move that.
Second.
Okay. All in favor? Okay, thank you, Mr. Matharu. So we can then carry on with the second matter.
Yes, I'll just need a motion that the appeal hearing for this hearing be concluded.
I'll move.
All in favor?
Perfect. So regarding our first appeal, please note that the Vehicle for Hire Appeal Board has allowed the appeal in part, subject to conditions imposed. Please visit the the Winnipeg Parking Authority Vehicles for Hire office to complete your license renewal. All right, next up, item 2 is an appeal under the Vehicle for Hire bylaw, number 129 of 2017, regarding license number VFHD 03228.
We'll reach you, we'll contact.
Yeah, we'll call you when we're ready. Yeah, you'll be allowed to.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Okay, if it is the will of the board, we can now hear an overview on appeal number 2 for Mr. Batra from the Public Service.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, sorry, I was just getting the material up, but okay, go ahead.
So, all right. Good morning again. As designated employee under the Vehicles for Hire bylaw, it is my role to make decisions based on the information presented to our office. The appellant presented their application in February 2025 for a City of Winnipeg taxi driver's license. As part of the application included their Manitoba driver's abstract, which has been filed as an exhibit. Upon review of the driver's abstract, it was determined that a conviction had occurred for careless driving, and this is considered a serious offense and a contravention of Section 125(6) of the Drivers and Vehicle Act. Based on this contravention and the guidance by the bylaw as to the definition of a relevant relevant major driving offense, I'm under the obligation to deny the application for a taxi cab driver's license. This occurred in the careless driving offense occurred in August or June of 2021. Which was adjudicated in August of 2021, August of 2021. As well, Mr. Batra served a 6-month or so suspension under MPI for his driver's license at that time. Running from August of 2021 until January of 2022.
So a 6-month suspension.
Correct.
Okay.
And that is the evidence before you.
All right. So this was a denial mandated by the bylaw. Does the bylaw mandate a permanent denial, or is there some period of time that passes and it could be looked at again, or?
The bylaw requires a 10-year look back when somebody presents an application. So we would look back on a 10-year period, and that denial is absolute under the bylaw, pending a appeal hearing or overturned by the wisdom of this board. There would be no as long as that offense shows on the driver's abstract without the board overturning that or allowing the appeal. That we would continue to be in a position to deny that license as long as that sat on there.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. And do we have any information about the particulars of the offense?
We do not. It's typically because the direction of the bylaw is absolute in that we would deny the license, we don't hold a hearing, we don't get into any assessment of the issue at hand related to the driving offense.
Okay, because careless driving constitutes a wide variety of behavior that falls short of dangerous driving, which is a different offense. Okay, well, that's what I'm curious about. Perhaps we'll hear from the appellant about that. Ms. Kozak, any questions of Mr. Heather?
So I understand this was his first application?
No, Mr. Batra was licensed in 2021, brought with, and presented a clean driver's abstract at that time, meaning that his license application preceded the fact that this happened. He then came in 2022, 2023 and 2024, and I'm sorry to say that our licensing clerks missed the careless driving conviction, and it wasn't escalated to the coordinator level where we would have been able to deal with it. So he actually has had a driver's license since 2021 continuously until we caught it this year when it was brought forward. So essentially, we are correcting what should have been dealt with back in 2022.
During that time, were there any incidents that he demonstrated any careless driving or any other complaints?
None that I am aware of related to vehicle for hire efforts.
How frequently, say in the last 3 years, are decisions like this overturned by the board?
It's a good question. We haven't had all that many. And without doing a bit more research into how many licenses we've had that were denied that simply never went to appeal as a category, there haven't been all that many appeal board hearings in the last handful of years anyways. Peter, do you happen to?
In 2022, we had 5 meetings. That does not accurately reflect the amount of appeals, however, as there can be multiple. In 2023, we had 2 meetings, and in 24, we had 1 meeting.
Yeah, so that raises another question, and Gary, I'll get to you in a minute. So there, as I said, there are 10 entries on the abstract, of which only 3 and 4 have not been redacted. Can we safely assume that none of the others are cause for concern to the administration?
You can safely assume that the redacted items are not pertinent to the decision in front of you.
Okay. In other words, his taxi driver license is not impacted by those other items?
Not from our standpoint. His overall driver's license may be impacted from an MPI standpoint, however, which would override anything on our side. MPI is the authority.
Yeah, no, I understand. If he has no driver's license, he can't drive a taxi anyway.
Correct.
Right. Okay, Mr. Shewchuk, any questions of Mr. Heather?
No, I have none.
All right. Okay, Mr. Clerk, do we now hear from Mr. Batra?
That's right. Mr. Butler, if you want to join us at the end of the table there, and you can go ahead with your presentation.
Hi, Dean. How are you?
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing good.
Okay, so you heard what Mr. Heather had to say, so now is your opportunity to speak.
Okay, so my question is like, I have been driving with city like from 21, and I have invested in the company for like 4 years. I have driving with the Unicity for 4 years, and I haven't had any issue. And I don't know like how it came up after 4 years because it's like I just applied in February for the license for the renewal, and they told me that it can't be renewed because of this careless driving. But I was wondering, like, it's been on the record, like, from 21, right? So I didn't thought like it would have been an issue. But like after 4 years, like I don't know how it became an issue. If I was aware of it, like I would have not invested in the company for like 4 years. Like from saying from Feb, like I have been jobless just because this incident. So I'm hoping for the best and just need my job back. That's
Well,
all.
yeah, I don't want to speak for the administration, but I think you heard that the existence of the conviction in 2021 predated your application that year and was not picked up in the annual renewal until earlier this year. That's what I understand occurred. Why that happened is anybody's guess, but what we need to deal with is the fact that the conviction does exist, and it does mandate denial of a renewal of your license. And we did hear that during the years you mentioned that there were no driving issues that the administration was aware of, and as everyone has noted, this one goes back to 2021. So I think that's the explanation. I stand to be corrected. So did you have anything else that you want to add?
Okay, so I'm just wondering, like, it's from 21, right? Like, it's almost been 4 years for this conviction, and so if you see, like, I don't have any other like careless driving or something like on my record. If you see, so I just want to add this and just if you can help me out, I just need my job back because it's hard to find a job right now. And just as I said, like I invested in the company for 4 years, so that's all for now.
Well, perhaps, sir, and you recall I put this question to Mr. Heather, and the reason I'm asking is twofold. One is that, as I noted, careless driving involves a wide spectrum of activity that falls short of dangerous driving. And in this particular case, it resulted in a 6-month suspension by MPI, which is not insignificant, as you can imagine. So I think it would be helpful for the panel to understand the circumstances that gave rise to the charge in the first place. So what did you do that the police officers felt constituted careless driving?
It was a speeding ticket.
It was a speeding ticket.
I want to be fair with you, like I just bought a new car, so it was just that issue, nothing else. And I think it was my first ticket.
Okay, and do you know how much over the limit you were?
Just I think 30 or 35 over.
All right, so that gets you into the careless driving range, I suppose. Yeah.
Yes.
All right, and no other incidents of that nature since that time?
I know.
No. All right. Ms. Kozak, any questions?
Either personally or as a taxi driver, have you received any speeding tickets since then?
Not a speeding ticket, no.
I have no further questions. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Shuchuk,
I have no questions at this time.
all right. Mr. Heather, any response?
No, that's based on the, full driver's abstract that I have in front of me. That is accurate. No additional tickets for speeding or, entries related to that on his abstract.
All right, thank you. Mr. Clerk, what is our next step then?
If the appellant has anything else to say, now is the time. Otherwise, we can move into motions.
That's all. Like, I just want like my job back. Like, I'm jobless, so I'm just requesting you guys just to take care of it. That's all from my end.
Sorry, that just raises one other question. So do you have a job to go back to?
Like, what do you mean? I couldn't.
Is there a position as a taxi driver available to you?
Yeah, because my license is not renewed, so I couldn't drive because of that.
Yeah, no, I understand that. I understand you couldn't drive, but is there a position open for you?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, there is. All right, thank you. So I guess we can close the submissions and the evidence.
That's right, yes. So a motion that the receipt of public representations be concluded.
I move that.
Amanda, second. All in favor? Carried.
Right, and then that we enter private deliberations.
I'll move.
Amanda, seconded by Gary. All in favor?
Perfect, thank you. So similar to the last appeal, if we can ask everybody to just take a step outside, and we'll call you back in a few minutes.
Thank you, Dean.
Thank you. The following is the decision of the panel. Mr. Batra has held a taxi driver's license since 2021. Apart from the matter which brings us here today, there have been no issues with his driving generally or with respect to his work as a taxi driver. In June 2021, sometime after his taxi driver's license had been issued for the first time, Mr. Batra was ticketed for careless driving under the Highway Traffic Act. A conviction was entered in August 2021, and his driver's license was then suspended by MPI for about 6 months. Mr. Batra applied for renewal of his taxi driver's license in 2022, 2023, and 2024, each time providing a driver's abstract which included the 2021 conviction. The renewal was granted on each of those occasions. The conviction was not noted by the administration until he applied for his 2025 renewal. At that time, his renewal application was denied. The denial was mandated by the applicable vehicle for hire bylaw. In response to questions from the panel regarding the circumstances of the offense, Mr. Batra advised that he had just acquired a new vehicle and was caught driving 30 to 35 kilometers over the speed limit. The panel notes that Mr. Batra has no other relevant driving offenses and that, apart from the period of his MPI suspension, he has been working as a taxi driver without incident or complaint. The panel is satisfied that he has been sufficiently penalized for the offense and that he poses no appreciable risk to the public as a taxi driver. The appeal is therefore allowed with a condition which the clerk will now read into the record.
Thank you, Mr. Chairperson. The motion reads that the appeal be allowed in part and the decision dated March 3rd, 2025, issued by the manager of Vehicles for Hire, Winnipeg Parking Authority regarding provisions of the Vehicles for Hire bylaw number 129 of 2017 for license number VFHD-03228 be cancelled subject to the following condition. Report any Highway Traffic Act or any criminal code charges to the Winnipeg Parking Authority for a period of 6 months from April 29th, 2025.
Mr. Batra, any questions concerning the decision?
So did he insert me on it?
Yes, so With this motion, they will give you your license back, and you'll have to, for a period of 6 months, if you have any Highway Traffic Act or criminal code charges, you have to disclose those to the parking authority. Yep. He's nodding in agreement.
All right, thank you. Mr. Heather, any questions or concerns?
No, I'll just note that drivers licensed or registered under the vehicle for hire bylaw have a duty to report major driving offenses or relevant criminal offenses anyways, and that's an ongoing requirement. So,
Yeah, we're requiring the charges and report.
Yeah.
So.
yeah, that's fair.
Okay, well, thank you, Mr. Batra. I think that concludes your matter. So we need a motion to conclude public representations.
I'll make a motion for the appeal.
Oh, sorry, yeah. So Amanda moves and Gary seconds. All in favor?
And then a motion that the appeal hearing be concluded.
I'll make that motion.
Gary, seconded by Amanda. All in favor? So we are concluded.
Please note that the Vehicles for Hire Appeal Board have allowed the appeal in part, subject to conditions imposed. Please visit the Winnipeg Parking Authority Vehicles for Hire office to complete your license renewal. And if the board is ready, we'll move into our final appeal for the day.
So and that's should they go to vehicles for our and just get my license?
Yeah, it'll probably be this afternoon. We'll contact you, and our office will contact you when everything's processed and ready to go.
Do I need to submit the supporting documents again?
No, I
No,
believe we
no,
have.
we have everything we need. Yeah.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Okay, item is an appeal.
Sorry, just does anybody need a break or? If not, we can carry on.
Okay, item 3 is an appeal under the Vehicles for Hire bylaw number 129 of 2017 regarding license number VFHD-04839. So at this time, we'll hand it over to the public service to give us an overview on the matter.
Again, thank you, Mr. Chair and appeal board members. As previously stated, and as designated employee under the Vehicle for Hire bylaw, it is my role to make decisions based on the information presented to our office and to enforce the bylaw. The appellant presented their application for a City of Winnipeg taxi driver's license in March of 2025. As part of their application was their Manitoba driver's abstract. The exhibits have been filed as evidence. Upon review of the driver's abstract, it was determined that a conviction had occurred that was in contravention of section 49(1) of the Vehicles for Hire bylaw. Based on this contravention and the guidance provided by the bylaws to the definition of a major driving offense, I was under the obligation to deny the application for a taxi driver's license. Mr. Sharma was convicted of a careless driving conviction or a careless driving charge under the Highway Traffic Act in April of 2021. And with a conviction date of December. So the charge was levied April 2021, conviction date of December 2022. So I can only assume it proceeded to court at that time. He held a license from 2019 to 2021 with no issues. And then it appears that he took some time off, was not driving in this industry. He does hold a Class 1 driver's license, however, and went to be relicensed in January of 2024, which he was issued a license at that time in error. Then in July of 2024, switched to become an accessible driver. So was restricted to driving only an accessible van at that time. And then he came in March of 2025 to move to a standard license, renew his license, and to go back to a standard license, which gives him the option to drive either a regular taxi, a standard taxi, or an accessible taxi. And at that time, a denial letter was issued based on the careless driving conviction.
Okay, sorry, can you just go over the history again, just a little more slowly? So you said in 2019 to 2021.
Yeah, continuously, he held a City of Winnipeg taxi driver's license,
So a standard license, though?
a standard license, yeah. And then he did not renew his license.
Not
20,
renewed in 2022 was not renewed?
2022 and 2023 was not renewed.
Okay,
And then in 2024, from January to July, he had a license as an accessible driver.
all right.
And
And
then
then
did not renew in July, and then came in March of 2025 to obtain a standard driver's license. This isn't uncommon in the industry. A lot of drivers may drive part-time at times, or they may a lot do hold class 1 licenses, and so they'll drive semi trucks and in transportation, and then they decide to come off the road for a bit and drive taxis, that type of thing. We do see that fairly frequently.
Okay. Ms. Kozak, any questions of Mr. Heather?
The conviction was in Ontario, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. That was my only question, thank you.
And we have no details of the penalty.
There is no details of the penalty. It does appear that there was no MPI license suspension related to it, however.
Mr. Shuchuk, any questions?
No, I have nothing further.
All right, and perhaps we can hear from Mr. Dilpreet.
If you can please have a seat at the end of the table, please.
A support letter from my employer I was just working recently with. Okay. And this is my insurance. Thank you.
Okay, so Mr. Sharma has given me a letter of support from AB Transit dated April 28th, 2025, signed by Kamaljit Johal, and another copy of the driver's abstract.
Okay, and is sorry, is the driver's abstract the same as the one that we have?
It is unredacted.
Okay, apart from that.
If he provides it, then that's fine.
Yep.
From March 18th.
March 18th?
This one is information from Manitoba Public Insurance records as of 29 April 2025.
So it's today.
So, yeah.
So it's today, okay, but there's only the one conviction shown on it?
There is under class 1, there are 2 entries. There is a careless driving on conviction date of 22nd December 2022. And then there is the second line, 20 January 2023. Highway Traffic Acts, Section 85, traffic control conviction. Conviction date 23rd February 2024. Disposition, reprimand, motor vehicle related.
So, Section 85, is that speeding?
Went through a red light or a stop sign. Likely red light, given that it was traffic control versus stop sign itself. So, yeah,
Okay, so a red light.
yeah, likely that, yeah.
And that was when
That was
When?
in January of 2023.
January 20, okay, so 2 years ago.
Yeah, so since he has disclosed his driver's abstract to you in full unredacted, that would be the second entry in the redacted version you received.
I see, okay, all right, so that was known to the administration.
Correct.
Okay. All right, sorry about that, Mr. Dilpreet. The floor is yours. We want to hear what you have to say.
Yeah, good morning, everyone. So, after like 2021, like in 2021,
I was driving a semi truck, and I took like a right turn. It was it was my fault. I do admit that I shouldn't have took a right turn there. It was kind of very close, so I had to back up to complete that turn, and then the traffic was disrupted. So that's why I got that ticket for careless driving. And then the second ticket that it shows over there, I got a reprimand from the judge. It was for a left turn that I shouldn't have taken. We're very
So,
honest. Yeah.
and that was what, clearing a red light or?
No, there was no red light. So I
Oh.
was in a parking lot. So I had to. The only option was to go right, which I missed. So
Okay,
yeah, so the only option was so you have to stop at the stop sign and then go a right, and then there were lights. You can either take a left or a right. So
okay,
so there was a curb cut. So the mistake I did was that I took a left there.
okay. And in the first incident, was there any collision or was just that you were disrupting traffic?
It was just that I was disrupting traffic. So they gave me a ticket for careless driving because there was a police officer nearby. So then he stopped me, and then at that time it was COVID and it was a different province. So I did ask them to I would like to speak to someone. So it took kind of a very long time.
Mhm.
All the proceedings were delayed at that time. Yeah.
Right, yeah. So, all right, so the only two convictions you have are relating to your work as a semi driver, not as a taxi driver. Is that correct?
That is correct. Yeah. So
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry to interrupt you.
sorry about that. So I have also been working with AB Transit, the letter I provided. So
Yes.
yeah, so my role over there was helping people with disabilities to go from one place to another.
Yes.
Yeah, so last month I was supposed to start working with Unicity Taxi. I already had a position open for me, and I did leave my job over there at AB Transit. So then I was left with no job, and also as the support letter says, like I am on call right now. So right because of that, so I don't have a job anymore. So what happened when in 2024 I went to renew my license, I provided them with the fresh abstract at that time, like the latest abstract at that time, and
Yes.
it did say there that I had this ticket when I renewed my license, but then they missed it. So if I would have known it before, then I wouldn't have quit my job at AB Transit. So I wouldn't be have like at this position where I am today. So yeah.
Okay. Okay. Ms. Kozak, any questions for Mr. Dilpreet?
That second conviction, it was also in Ontario, the left turn in the parking lot?
No, that was in Winnipeg.
Okay.
That was on Reinders Drive. There's a McDonald's there on Reinders. It's just in between Leggy Moore and Pennant Road. So it's like a strip mall there.
And that was
Yeah,
in
no,
the
yeah, I know the area. People get ticketed there a lot for doing what you did.
So yeah, but I did get a reprimand from the judge. So what they told me that it won't affect my license or anything with MPI. So that's what they told me, that a reprimand, like when it's a reprimand, they said me that like it won't be considered. That's what they told me for a rep.
But that was with a semi, is that correct? Or was that
No,
with
no, that was not with the semi. That was with my vehicle, yeah, personal vehicle.
Okay.
Oh, personal
Had
vehicle.
no convictions when driving with a passenger in either the AB Transit or any other capacity.
No. Also, the support letter also it's stated there that I didn't get like any. I was never involved in any in-fault accidents or any tickets when I had a passenger with me. nothing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Shuchuk, any questions?
No, I have no questions.
Mr. Heather, any follow-up to what you've heard?
No, I'll just note for the record that AB Transit has a Winnipeg Transit Plus contract.
Yep.
So that would have been who he'd be driving with. It is kind of quasi city related.
Yeah, it's kind of related to the city. So like indirectly, I was like kind of working like a private contractor with City of Winnipeg. So yeah.
Okay, so it's not a vehicle for hire.
It's
Mattering.
not. No, it's not. They Winnipeg Transit Plus has their own process. Mr. Sharma would have been trained through the Winnipeg Transit Plus training program to offer accessible service, which would be acceptable to being a vehicle for hire driver as well. It's a slightly higher level of training. But they are independent. They have differences in qualifications and stuff. Yeah.
All right, thank you. Mr. Dilpreet, do you have anything to say in response to what you heard from Mr. Heather?
No, also, like I have a lot of experience transporting people with disabilities. So if I do get a license, so I'll be driving an accessible cab. So yeah, that's like, yeah.
All right. Okay, so I think we need a motion then to conclude public representations.
That's correct.
So, Gary?
Sure.
And Amanda? Yeah. All in favor? Carried. And then we need a motion to conclude the hearing or to go in camera,
Yes.
I'll move.
Okay. Amanda and Gary? All in favor? Okay.
All right. So I'll just ask everybody for the last time to just head out into the gallery and we'll call you back in a few minutes. Thank you.
All right, this is the decision of the panel. Mr. Dilpreet held a standard taxi driver's license from 2019 to 2021. He did not renew in 2022 or 2023. Apart from the matter which brings us here today, there were no issues with his driving generally or with respect to his work as a taxi driver. In April 2021, sometime after his taxi driver's license had been renewed, Mr. Dilpreet was ticketed in Ontario for careless driving. A conviction was entered in December 2022, but there is no evidence of the penalty, if any, that was imposed. Mr. Dilpreet applied for renewal of his taxi driver's license in 2024 and provided a driver's abstract which included the 2021 conviction. The renewal was granted. The conviction was not noted by the administration until he applied for a renewal in March 2025. At that time, his renewal application was denied. The denial was mandated by the applicable vehicle for hire bylaw. In response to questions from the panel regarding the circumstances of the offense, Mr. Dilpreet advised that he was driving a semi and experienced some difficulty with a tight right turn, which resulted in him disrupting traffic for a time. There were no collisions with any other vehicle. In 2023, Mr. Dilpreet was ticketed for making an illegal turn. He received a reprimand from the judge. The panel notes that Mr. Dilpreet has no other relevant driving offenses and that he has been driving in a number of capacities in service of the public, including as a driver of persons with disabilities, without incident or complaint. The panel is satisfied that he poses no appreciable risk to the public as a taxi driver. The appeal is therefore allowed.
All right, so the motion would be that the appeal be allowed and the decision dated March 20th, 2025, issued by the manager of Vehicles for Hire, Winnipeg Parking Authority regarding provisions of the Vehicles for Hire bylaw, number 129 of 2017 for license number VFHD-04839 be canceled.
Okay, Amanda, do you want to move that motion?
Yeah, I will move.
And Gary, second?
Yes.
All in favor? Sorry, just before we move on to the next part, is, Mr. Dilbreed, do you have any questions about the, decision of the panel?
He indicates that he does not.
Okay, and, Mr. Heather, any, clarifications that you require?
Nope, I'm good here. Thank you.
So then what is our next motion, Mr. Clerk?
That the appeal hearing be concluded.
And, that's moved by Gary, seconded by Amanda. All in favor?
And then the last motion for today is just to adjourn this meeting.
Okay, so moved by Amanda, seconded by, Gary, and, we are adjourned.
Yep.